A thread by Soul War titled Antifa Rules Portland After Dark. Last night was day 46 of the nationwide protests, read Marxist insurrection, that has hijacked the protests against police brutality to attempt to deface or destroy everything Americana. This is Portland's federal courthouse. It and the Portland Justice Center have been under assault every single night since May 27th. Hundreds of Antifa gather, light illegal fires, harass motorists and passersby, fight among themselves between clashes with the Portland Police Bureau. Portland Mayor Ted Wheeler allows all this to occur. Here's a tweet from the mayor on July 10th. Mayor Ted Wheeler, we must acknowledge that our system of white supremacy lays the foundation for white nationalism to exist. This is real. We must support Black Portlanders for whom this is familiar and terrifying, and we must continue the work of reform. This is an ideologue, utterly detached from reality and the consequences of his actions. When I say Antifa rules the night in downtown Portland, I am not joking. Assaults like this are now common, dozens, every night. Nothing is done. And Brent links to an Andy No tweet, link in the description to the thread. Antifa have no fear at all and are growing even more violent. Only approved media is allowed to film them. Anyone else risks being beaten and having their cameras stolen. Again, this is common, and nothing is done to stop it. Antifa has done hundreds of thousands of dollars in damage to the city and is preventing many businesses from opening. No end in sight. Their graffiti, much of it obscene, is everywhere. They set illegal fires every night. Portland Police Bureau watches and does nothing. It's 2 a.m. PPB, Portland Police Bureau, are moving rioters away from the Justice Center after more vandalism to the building. This interaction is commonplace. On Saturday, U.S. Marshals stepped up their responses. Big time. After weeks of studying Antifa's actions, they are now going proactive. Before, they protected the courthouse only. Now they have challenged Antifa 2 nights running. Friday night, several Antifa were arrested attacking the courthouse. Saturday, the marshals put up yellow crime scene tape around the courthouse and pushed back anyone who tried to remove it or go under it to gain access to the building. Trey Stewart shot most of the footage these stills came from. He is an approved journalist who can move freely among Antifa. Note his friend's ballistic armor and gear. Many Antifa are now kitted out like this. Without warning, that Saturday night, the U.S. Marshals suddenly sprang upon Antifa. Everyone scatters as fully riot-geared marshals single out specific high-value targets for arrest. When Antifa try to rally to protect those being arrested, the marshals deploy tear gas, flashbangs, and pepper balls. Antifa screams abuse and epithets nonstop. President Trump has dispatched an unknown number of U.S. Marshals to Portland. This group of 25 was one group out of 3 that exited the federal courthouse to pursue at least one high-value arrestee. One by one, now that the Marxist mob's leaders have been identified, they are being arrested federally. This skips the local and state government completely, who often release violent rioters within hours. Since the number of violent rioters is only a few hundred, they do this to keep the chaos going. You read that right. The mayor and city council are deliberately contributing to the chaos by ensuring rioters are quickly released. What was the mayor's reaction to Saturday's pushback? That's right. He wants the federal marshals to stop using force and basically sweep up after Antifa like the neutered Portland Police Bureau. The good news is the feds appear to be ignoring the mayor. Last night, the mob shot fireworks at the courthouse and lit fires but didn't breach the yellow tape. Then an Antifa member placed a burning board against the building past the yellow tape. PPB moved in and cleared them out. Antifa now lacks focus. Last night, several fights broke out. As they quarreled among themselves. Clearly, most of their leadership is either in custody or AWOL. What started out as an attempt to bankrupt the city is now wearing on Antifa instead. Here comes the city of Portland to the rescue. Mean old Trump has sent those dastardly marshals to oppress those poor, mostly peaceful protesters, brown shirts. Tim Pool just shakes his head in disgust. President Trump will be unmoved, of course. He's made it known the federal teams will protect federal property. Doesn't matter how loud these Democrat neo-Marxists squall. Portlanders voted in these insane ideologues, and they can wallow in the consequences. But since Antifa have attacked federal property relentlessly, this gives President Trump and the DOJ an open door to pursue Antifa's most violent and incorrigible members. Antifa's numbers are not even 1/3 of what they were in 2017. Therefore, a complicit mainstream media amplifies their numbers. This means Antifa will not be allowed to grow. The Justice Department has decapitated their violent movement. The mob I'm looking at is still incredibly violent and destructive, but they are now utterly unfocused. Trump just denied Minnesota federal aid to rebuild. Good. They allowed the rioting in the first place. He'll do the same with every single deep blue city that's allowing these Marxist, red, foreign-backed mobs to run amok. Democrats will howl. Democrats will scream, Trump doesn't C-A-R-E about black people. Shades of Christina. Cue Kanye West. Oh. Trump's a genius. As Democrats use Black Lives Matter to cause chaos in Democrat-run cities, these enablers will be denied the federal dollars they counted on to repair the very damage they ensured would happen by giving their ginned-up mobs space to destroy. Gee, looks like Trump's not doing a thing, huh? As the months go by and things get better for the red states, the blue states will descend even further into lawlessness as the Marxist motto, become ungovernable, becomes a reality. The dichotomy between red and blue will be glaring and unmistakable, and this includes the pandemic. The same way that the left is using the chaos to blame Trump and erode the rule of law he was restoring, they're also futzing with statistics on COVID-19 to keep everyone under their authority locked down. Utterly political. The pandemic is over. America has moved on. Anyone who's done any critical thinking, sadly a lost art these days, or research would realize they are deliberately conflating anyone with COVID antibodies with hospitalized cases. It appears tens of thousands contracted it without getting sick. They are counted as COVID cases. Texas is reported to have 3,246 deaths from COVID-19. They are padding the numbers desperately. If you died from a drug overdose or suicide, but COVID was found, you are listed as a COVID death. It may very well be the actual deaths for Texas are less than 1,000. Every rational person knew the number of cases would go up as testing gone wild occurred. But remember, many have it and didn't get sick. Doesn't matter, they are counted as cases. So now the MSM are crowing Texas has its second devastating wave of COVID. No, deaths are plummeting. The left is using the insurrection to cause chaos and destruction as the media wrap up the number of cases and deaths to hit President Trump in October. By that time, the red states will have simply moved on, leaving the blue states mired in their own crapulence. Then Trump will be reelected. The left will go even more insane and get even more violent, but Trump knows this and will have prepared the left's collective temper tantrum, and it will be stopped almost overnight. And by that time, sane Americans, beyond tired of the left's destructive antics, will approve. Stability and prosperity will arrive. Trump's second term as president will astound you. Freed up from Russiagate, impeachment, the now shamdemic, and having defeated the left's long-planned insurrection, he will restructure the government to ensure the abuse of citizenry that was commonplace will never happen again. All we have to do is vote on November 3rd and then watch that vote age like fine wine. A rare vintage humanity has rarely ever partaken of that we can pass on to the next generation. A peace and stability that will rocket us to the stars. A peace we earned, having won the soul war.